Hello, it's me. I've been thinking we should do the thing they call a brow routine. I felt like rhythmically it worked. That's just my feeling. Flip. My brows have been a journey. Some would say a lifelong journey. When I first started YouTube, I was looking at some of my earlier videos this morning. I think we can just come out and say it. They were in a bit of a sad place. And all these years later, I feel like I'm finally at a stage where I kind of like my brows. And I think a few of you guys like them too because you requested this routine. So here we are. Ask and you shall receive. So some keywords to describe my personal brow aesthetic. Piecey, fluffy, textured, brushed up, maybe a little bit editorial. I like to see the little bits of skin in between the hairs. Are my brows perfect? No, they are not. But we've come a long way and I'm working with what I've got. So if this also describes your personal brow aesthetic, you wanna see how I did this? Keep watching. Flip. Bare brows, this is what we're working with. So this is my good brow. You know, Ivy League graduate, does yoga every morning at 7 a.m. and actually enjoys it. And then this is my bad brow. Eats Cheetos on the couch all day long and probably a better reflection of who I am as a person, if we're being honest. So the first step in achieving the textured brow for me was actually obtaining some hairs, aka growing back your brows if perhaps you've overplucked them. This will 100% be one of the most painful and unsightly periods in your life, but pull through because I promise it will be so worthwhile. If you want some tips or even just some encouragement, I actually did a blog post a while back all about growing back my eyebrows. And you know, there's some before and after shots in there and some tips and tricks that I found to be helpful. So I'm gonna link that somewhere on the screen. Go check it out. Flip. So in terms of grooming, I actually do very little because I am desperately trying to retain the brow hairs that I do have. So I pluck any hairs that are sort of traveling down onto my eyelid or onto my temple, but I resist plucking any of the hairs that are attached to the body of the brow. And just make sure that you're stepping back frequently because tweezers plus mirror, that's a very slippery slope, trust me. And then for the area between the brows, I actually use a shaving device. This is the Veet one. I featured it a while ago. I like it because it's got a very small shaving unit here. And I shave the area between my brows because if I pluck that area, man, I just break out into crazy painful pimples. So yeah, shaving for me. Again, keeping well away from the body of the brow. I'm just trying to catch those strays. Now, I find it really tempting to want to go in and kind of carve out that upper perimeter, but I've always found that that gives me more of a clean, manicured looking brow, and that's not really what I'm going for. So I'm going to leave that alone. Sometimes I'll just take off like one if it's like really dark hair, but today I think we're looking good. Also, I used to trim my brows quite a bit, so I would kind of brush the hairs up and then take scissors and trim them. I don't do that so much anymore because that length is actually going to help me to create that brushed up bushy texture. If you have more unruly brows than I do, then absolutely feel free to trim your brow hairs however you like, but I don't tend to do that so much anymore. Flip. Okay, so now onto the makeup portion of the brows. I'm actually going to create that brushed up texture before I add any color or try to fill in my brows because I find that once the hairs are plastered up, I can kind of better gauge what's going on and I actually don't need to fill my brows half as much as I think I do, if you know what I mean. So to create that texture, I have 3 options for you guys. So the priciest option is the Surratt Brow Pomade. You guys know I love this stuff. I've been using it for years. It's got a waxy kind of texture and this little toothbrush applicator that is just genius. It really catches every single hair. This has also got quite strong hold, much stronger than something like the Alexandria clear brow gel. Whenever I try to use that to create my brushed up texture, my brows just sort of, you know, throughout the day they sort of fall down, whereas the Surratt Brow Pomade holds them up for many hours. The moderately priced version is the MAC Mixing Medium in Lash. A MAC artist actually recommended this to me for this very purpose, and it is fab. It's actually quite a close dupe to the Surratt brow pomade. It's got that same waxy texture and same really great hold, but you're going to need a separate spoolie with this one. It doesn't have a cool toothbrush applicator, so I guess maybe not as convenient as the Surratt, but much cheaper. And then the most affordable option is soap. So Sharon and I actually tried the soap brow technique in a video. So effective. The soap acts as like a glue to really keep the brows up. And to be honest, out of the 3 options that I've showed you today, I think this one provides the longest lasting hold. Just be prepared for a little bit of trial and error, as we discovered in that video. I'll link it on the screen if you've not watched it. Today I'm going to be using the MAC mixing medium because you've seen the other 2 in action on my channel before. So I'm going to get my little tubey and I'm going to make sure that it's not going to like do that dribbly thing. Oh, no, we're good. So I'm going to pop a little bit onto the back of my hands and then just kind of mash the spoolie into my hand. Start small, because if you add too much, you're going to get brow dandruff. Ain't nobody want brow dandruff. Let's get some texture up in here. So for the inner brow, I'm going to be brushing directly up. And I'm really kind of going over, getting in there to make sure that that product coats every hair. And then as I start approaching the tail, I kind of start pulling towards kind of my upper temple here. Now, depending on your brow shape and your preference as well, you might want to start tapering this down into your natural angle. But I keep brushing this way because I'm trying to create a slightly flatter brow. So naturally my brows have quite a strong arch. See, that tail has quite a strong, severe downward slope, and you always want what you can't have. Hair flip. So before the brushed up texture and after the brushed up texture. So already they look bushier, I think, and bolder. It's beginning to take shape. Now you might want to add a little bit of color or fill them in. I'm going to be using, if I can find it, where art thou, SUQQU brow pen? Seriously? So I'll be using the SUQQU brow pen just where I need it. So I know I'm looking a little bit sparse on the tail area, so I'm laying the brow pen flat and then using a stamping motion. This creates a crisp and distinct line that closely resembles a hair. And you can see that I'm also stamping in the same angle as the way my natural hairs are pointing. So I've seen some people on YouTube use gel products for this technique, like the Anastasia dip brows, and it seems to look great on them, but gels always produce a bit of a blurry line on me. Maybe I just need more practice, but to be honest, I think that the brow pen just makes it so easy. I'm also going to elongate my brow here because I have quite a short brow, and to a certain degree I've kind of accepted that, but I do like to elongate it a little bit. So my tail is half the battle. I have a pretty good amount of hair in the body of the brow and also the beginning of the brow, but what I'll do is I'll kind of add a few, oh, was that a little bit too low? That was a little bit too low, never mind. I'll add a few little flicks here and there, but I am practicing restraint because I want to see that skin in between the brow. That's the look. No blocky brows in here. Unless, of course, that's what you want, in which case, girl, I support you. I support you in everything that you do, and I appreciate you. I'm like DJ Khaled. I'm pretty satisfied with how that one is looking right now. To be honest, I've never done the same brow twice. Every day, they're a little bit different. So I'm gonna go and tend to my bad brow. Be back in 3 days. But actually, boom, both brows done. So in all seriousness, on a regular day, this would take me 2 to 3 minutes because most of the work and the boldness is actually achieved by that brushed up texture. And then the filling in and the color, that's more of a finishing touch for me nowadays. And before, it used to take me forever to do my brows. Thank you, motorbike. It used to take me forever to do my brows and like 5 products. So I feel like almost I'm bringing it back to basics again. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that answered any questions that you might have had. I know that this kind of brow is not everyone's cup of tea. Occasionally I'll get comments on social media like, you really need to do something with your brows and groom them because they look really bushy. that's kind of the look I'm going for. To me, this feels quite modern and fresh. To me. Everyone is entitled to their own brow opinion. Why are brows so controversial? What? Hit the subscribe button if you like what I do, or you can just leave. And come say hello to me on Instagram at Karima McKimmie, because I would love to chat to you there. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye. Flip.